Hello everybody and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we are back again with the tips. Semi-final weekend, only 2 games, both sudden death. Every game's sudden death from here, so the stakes are high. Let's get straight into this. Starting off with Friday night footy at the Adelaide Oval, Port Adelaide taking on Hawthorn. There are quite a few interesting storylines to come out of this game. Ken Hinkley is potentially coaching for his football career in this game. If Port Adelaide lose this, and highly likely if they lose this by a big margin, he is going to get the flick. The Port Adelaide fans are at breaking point. I think if they don't see a grand final at least this year, they are going to absolutely lose it. And then we got Hawthorn, the Jack Ginnivan situation, commenting on Brodie Grundy's post, saying see you in 14 days, implying that they're going to beat the Port Adelaide in this one, and that he's pretty confident in them doing that, or he's guaranteeing it. So yeah, this is going to be a cracking game. It's sold out. I think there's going to be a lot of Hawthorn fans at this game. There wasn't too many Geelong fans at the previous game at the Adelaide Oval. I think there's going to be a lot more Hawks fans. They're all jumping on the bandwagon. There's probably going to be quite a few Crows fans at this game, buying a few Hawks scarves and bandwagoning the Hawks in this one, just like they did with GWS last year. Last year it was a bit easier for them to bandwagon. They could just all put on high-vis orange jumpers and then pretend to be Giants fans. This year, they're going to actually have to buy Hawthorn merch unless they want to, piss and shit all over their Guernseys. But anyway, so huge game this one. Teams just dropped before I started recording this video, and Charlie Dixon, to my surprise, is still in the team. I have no idea why they've kept him in the team. They have brought in Todd Marshall, but for whatever reason they just decided that they want to stick with Dixon, even though he hasn't really been that good all year and was absolutely pretty poor in the last game. Only 3 disposals, 1 behind, just looked old and stiff, and just pretty much every player on the Geelong team outran him on that night. And Hawthorn are a fast, small team, so they've got a lot of smaller players. They're zippy. They're pretty quick. So I think that decision could come back to haunt them. And speaking of decisions that could come back to haunt players, like I said earlier, Jack Ginnivan, he's going to get himself into a lot of trouble if they lose this game, and especially if he plays a poor one. We saw what happened with Josh Rochelle earlier in the year. If you want to make comments like that before a game, you have got to be prepared to back it up. I love a bit of personality in the game. I like it when players say these sort of things to up the ante and bring a bit more spice into the game. But man, when you say things like this, you have got to perform. And in my opinion, I think it would have just been safer for Ginnivan to keep his mouth shut in this one. Hawthorn coming into this game didn't have any pressure to perform. They've already well exceeded their expectations for this year. But now there is going to be pressure on them, because if they lose this game, that comment is going to backfire massively on Jack Ginnivan, who has already been in the news a lot this year and the last 3 years of his career. So yeah, originally I was going to tip Hawthorn in this game. Then after Ginnivan made those comments, I did change my tip to Port Adelaide, because we've seen recently with Rochelle, Ed Langdon a few years ago, Riley O'Brien a few more years ago than that, Port Adelaide a couple times before showdowns and mouthing off at Adelaide. Mouthing off at your opponents before you go to play them rarely works. I can't remember the last time anyone's mouthed off at their opponents and come out and won the game. It never seems to work. Karma always seems to come back to bite. And I did change my tip for Port Adelaide to Port Adelaide for a while, until I saw the teams. The teams, when I saw Dixon and Marshall were in, it just doesn't make any sense to me. They're probably going to put Asava Radaglia back, because Ryan Burton's out in this game. But he's much less of a intercepting, rebounding defender, and more of a key defender. Well, he is an interceptor. I should have said just rebounding. But yeah, it's going to be I think with the team that they've selected, I think it's going to be tough for them to win this one. And that being said, there is a stat that I saw on afl.com.au that apparently the last 11 teams to lose qualifying finals by 50 points have gone on to win the semi-final the next week. So that was another reason why I did change my tip to Port Adelaide for a while. But I mean, let's be honest, if there was any team to break that trend, it would probably be Port Adelaide. So I am going to be tipping the Hawks in this one. And moving on to the next game, which for some reason is at 7 AM. According to this, I know it's not actually at 7 AM, it's at 7 PM. I'm not sure why that is. Yeah, that's a bit of a strange glitch there. But anyway, we got GWS taking on the Brisbane Lions. This is going to be a cracking game. GWS home game. Very unlucky to lose the Swans last weekend. I think that there's still a good chance to go on and play in the grand final this year. I think that they've clearly been one of the best teams all year. Probably unlucky to finish as low as 4th. With that final round loss, they had a few players out. Bulldogs are in good form. Really, they probably should have finished 2nd or 3rd. And in that case, they would have played Port Adelaide. And I think, based on what we saw in the first week of finals, they probably would have won that game. But anyway, Brisbane coming off a good win against Carlton. Got out to a massive lead and then put their foot on the brakes for a little while. Did look a little bit shaky there in the 3rd quarter, but they got back on track, won the game. Wasn't that convincing of a win though, all things considered. The first half was dominant. The second half wasn't the greatest half of football any team's ever played, but it was enough for them to comfortably win that game. Now, at NG Stadium, I think it's probably most likely that we'll see GWS win this game. I think it'll be unlikely that we see 2 teams go out in straight sets. And of the 2 teams to go out in straight sets, I think Port Adelaide would be more likely. So because it's a home game for the Giants, I believe they have Toby Bedford back. Yeah, I'm going to be tipping the Giants in this one. And that is going to set up 2 cracking preliminary finals next week. So I've tipped Sydney to take on Hawthorn next week and Geelong to take on GWS. Given GWS's recent record at GMHBA Stadium, that'll probably be the one and only time that Geelong don't complain about not getting a true home final. But yeah, of course, that's only if GWS do win that game. So that's going to bring us to the end of this video. I hope you did enjoy. Leave your comments down for your semi-final predictions in the comment section below. As always, if you did enjoy this video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.